AITA. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to date someone due to our income disparity? I matched with a guy on a dating app, and we hit it off right away. We had a lot of interesting video chats, and about 3 weeks after our first talk, we decided to meet up. Since he was happy to drive during rush hour just to meet me, which could easily double his travel time, I said I would be paying for the entirety of our date. This included tickets for 2 separate events, researched and agreed upon by both of us, and dinner in the evening, restaurant we both liked, which he insisted he would pay for. We also agreed to keeping it very casual. He travels the 1 hour and 40 minutes to make it here, and we meet at a local mall. Immediately, I can tell something is off. He's looking half disappointed, half annoyed. After we exchange a hello hug, next words out of his mouth are, "Just look at all these people walking around, is everyone is making more money than I am? I bet I'm the poorest person here." Things kind of went downhill from there. In between any casual and familiar conversation we had, there were several comments like, "Oh, we have the fancy seats? Oh wow, people will look at me and think I'm some kind of rich spoiled guy. I could afford good seats, not insane VIP ones, just good ones, so I went for it. Oh yeah, of course you would be driving a brand new BMW, I don't know what I was expecting. I bet that's the least expensive car in your parking lot. My car is not brand new, just clean and scratch free. Of course you would need a reservation for this place, I mean, why wouldn't you? Look at this, I'm scared I'd break a glass, and it will cost me a week's rent. I am definitely outclassed here. It was just a nice restaurant I would expect to find in any average-sized town. Your hair is so soft, and you smell so good. What kind of shampoo do you use? Never mind, I doubt I can afford it." And many, many more. Just picture, if possible, someone having a half-desperate, half-smug expression, and quite the defeated tone while making them. I either chuckled, remained silent, or changed the subject after each one. However much I liked hanging out with him, every time he would make a comment like that, I felt incredibly uncomfortable. We had discussed our jobs, and his income is average nationally, somewhat low for his area, which is significantly poorer than mine, mostly because mine is stupid crazy expensive. It is also the home of many well-known companies, and the salaries are highly competitive, if only to compensate for the insane cost of living. For where I live, I make average money at best. The next day, I messaged him that while I appreciated his company and think he is a great guy, I would not be pursuing another date with him, and wished him all the best. So, in a way, it is not inaccurate to say I don't want to continue seeing him because of our difference in income, but more specifically T was his comments/behavior when it comes to said difference. Am I the a-hole here, and some of my friends say I am? And TA. Not the a-hole. His attitude was shoot, and it has nothing to do with his income. The first time he makes that joke, polite chuckle and move on. The eighth? Now we're getting into awkward territory. You broke it off clean and politely, no need to feel guilty at all. And TA. The problem with this guy isn't his income, it's his personality. And TA. His attitude and ego were the problem. He was happy to accept you paying for everything but still wanted to retain power, and his only way was to act pitiful and resentful that you bought something for him. No gratitude or thanks, just pointing out you did something wrong. So he could retain power and make you feel like shoot. He sounds toxic as frock and negging you. I was raised by slightly passive-aggressive parents, which means I have a really hard time accepting things from anyone, because I automatically feel in debt to the other person. Saying shoot like this is kind of a defense mechanism, and it's definitely in the same boat as negging. If I pretend I don't appreciate or care for something, that person can't hold it over my head as much. Of course, they could then hold my ingratitude over my head, but that's another can of worms. This guy is definitely acting shitty, but it's probably from a place to protect himself, not to harm you. If you really did like him, you could try reaching out and talking to him about how he doesn't need to feel ashamed of his income. Of course, that is completely not your responsibility, but it's an option. Having somebody tell me I'm being a selfish jerk was the kick in the ass I needed to fix my attitude. It doesn't sound you're not wanting to date because he's poor, it sounds like he was whining the whole time. He sounds like person who doesn't like his finances, not you. Either way, you are NTA for your romantic partner preferences. Your friends should chill. Good luck finding a partner. NTA. It really isn't because of your income disparity, it's because of his attitude about it. I'm sure if he were a pleasant person and you had a good time in the first date, you'd be willing to have a second despite his income. NTA. First of all, you don't need a good reason not to date someone. If you don't want to date him, you don't have to. Second of all, it sounds like the problem isn't his income, it's his shitty attitude and lack of tact. Of course the comments he's making would make you uncomfortable. I've dated women who make way more than I do before, and it was never an issue because neither of us ever made it one. This guy is enormously insensitive. He's only thinking about his own insecurities, and not considering how you feel at all. I guarantee you that if you'd kept dating him, this insecurity and lack of consideration would manifest itself in other ways and cause more problems. NTA. Look. While yes, income can be a super huge problem for someone, don't constantly complain about it when you're out with someone. He was kind of making it about him considering he kept bringing up those comments. His behavior in that way, not saying any other way, he might have been a swell guy, sounds a little childish, like he's upset that it's unfair even though you're making average for your area. Not only that, but it felt like those comments were pointed at you, like he was shaming you for having more money than him. Again, this is just what it feels like, not saying that's what he meant. So no, you're not the a-hole for this. Plus, you're not obligated to a second date when you felt uncomfortable with the guy, which you said you were when he said those things. I don't know how long the date lasted, but I feel like if he said all this in a span of 2 hours, that's just really uncomfortable and rude. Since you seem to not mention to him why you decided against a second date, I assume he accused you of not wanting a second date due to money issues? This is an assumption, please correct me if I'm wrong. If that's the case, then he might be very insecure about it, and would have continued the behavior no matter what. I honestly think you dodged a bullet, and I hope some of your friends see that too. If there are any assumptions or wrong comments I made, please let me know, I'd love to address them and explain my thinking. Nope, you're spot on for most of what you said. I deleted our communication, but his response to my message was first heartbroken, then a little self-pitying, then ended with, "Good luck finding a rich a-hole to date, so your personalities match," which I remember mostly because it didn't match the tone of the rest of the message.